To remind everybody to please go ahead and use the link in the description to get your comments recognized, or the link displayed below the ticker on every single show segment. That is GSMCPodcast.net. Really helps the show. It makes the show much more interactive between myself and you guys. Once again, the link is GSMCPodcast.net. And with that out of the way, we can go right ahead and talk about the second segment where I reveal all NBA teams that were just selected. So let me just go ahead and pull up the images right now. Here we go. So we have the All-NBA first team, and as I alluded to before at the beginning of this podcast, 4 of the 5 players I agree with, but one of them I do not. And I'm sure you guys can pinpoint exactly which one I do not agree with. I mean, Shai, he was second in MVP voting, definitely deserved. Luka, Shai was like top 2, top 3 for the longest time in the season. Same thing with Luka Doncic. I mean, right after the All-Star break, he's always been phenomenal. He's always been phenomenal, but right after the All-Star break, he just broke out. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the one of 2 players to average 30 points per game on 60% shooting from the field. Phenomenal. Absolutely insane. And Nikola Jokic, who obviously won the MVP. All of these players make sense. What doesn't make sense to me is Jason Tatum. I do not understand why this man is on the All-NBA first team over Jalen Brunson. I really do not. I genuinely do not understand why Jason Tatum is over Brunson in this award. I understand, like, Jason Tatum, he was the best player on the best team. Makes complete sense, and they had the 1 seed locked up. All of that makes total sense, and I get it. But Jalen Brunson, from an individual standpoint, is beating Jason Tatum in practically every single statistical category that you can think of. Like, and some people think that team success has to like do with a lot of these rankings and a lot of these awards, and like it should be taken into consideration. But these are like all NBA. This is, to me, the way I see it, it's all NBA teams. It means that it's like the best players at each position and the best individual players, and like judging off of their individual season, because you can make an argument like that Giannis, Luka, Shai, and Jokic had great seasons, better than anyone else at their position. You can totally make an argument for every single one of those players. But with Tatum, I don't see an argument that could be made. And most of it is probably because his Boston Celtics team is very, very good. Even though he's the only Boston Celtic on the All-NBA teams, that doesn't completely undermine the fact that, I mean, his team is fantastic. I mean, 2 players have made All-NBA defensive teams, and Jaylen Brown is incredibly underrated. Well, not really incredibly underrated, but he is underrated in his skill set. He's a very, very good second option. Then there's Kristaps, who's a 7'3" unicorn and is amazing for the Celtics, and is a great floor spacer and a great scorer when he needs to be. And it's like, he was basically awarded that position for being the best player on the best team, and I don't like it whatsoever. Especially when Brunson is averaging more points per game, more assists per game, a higher field goal percentage, a higher three-point percentage, a higher free throw percentage, higher box plus minus, and it's just all of these statistical categories. The only thing that Jason Tatum is honestly like over him on in terms of stats is rebounds. And it makes sense because Jason Tatum is a forward. Now, the steals and the blocks, Tatum is averaging more than that, but it's marginal. It's like really, really close. He's averaging 1 steal per game, where Brunson is averaging 0.9, and there goes my phone ringing. I can't stand that. That's great. And blocks per game, which is 0.6, and 0.2. Actually, hold on just 1 second. I will be right back after I go ahead and you know what? Never mind. I'm just gonna go ahead and let that roll, and hopefully it just blows over. but the box plus minus is a significant increase. It's 5.8 compared to 5.1. And it's just Brunson is basically over him in every single statistical category. I don't see why it was chosen. I do not see it at all. So that's basically all that I have for like Brunson and his case for being in the first team. He's obviously on the All NBA second team, which I mean, in my opinion, I don't think he should have been on the second team. He should have been on the first team. But at least he's on an All NBA team. Now, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, and Kawhi being on the second team. The only one that I really have questions about is Kawhi, because in my opinion, I feel like LeBron should have made the second team. Now, it might be a little biased because you guys know how I feel about my glorious king LeBron James, but yes, I don't think Kawhi Leonard should have been on the second team. He did have a great season. I'm not saying that he didn't have a great season, but I just think LeBron and he's the way that he's carried himself and especially his age, I think he deserves the All NBA second team spot. That's just in my personal opinion, but I have no real problem with Kawhi being up there on the second team. It's just a nitpick, really. That's all that I have for that. And I mean, another thing that I should mention, Anthony Edwards now received a huge incentive for making an All NBA team, which is like, it's really good for him and really good for the next person that's on the third team that I'll get to in a minute. I'm just trying to see exactly how much. Yes, he's going to receive an extra $41 million to his rookie extension for making the All NBA team, which is again very, very impressive. And moving on down from this list, we have the All NBA third team. Obviously, the glorious king is on an All NBA team. He now becomes the youngest and the oldest player to make an All NBA team. Because when he was 20 years old, he made an All NBA team. And now that he's pushing 40, he's made an All NBA team yet again. Now, Halliburton being on this list is, in my opinion, a little bit controversial. He got more votes than Devin Booker, despite the fact that Halliburton didn't really play that well throughout the second half of the season. And the fact that he was able to get more votes than Devin Booker, something is fishy. Something is going on, and I genuinely do not like it. And I am not a big fan of Halliburton whatsoever. And I mean, good props to him for making the All-NBA third team, because similar to Anthony Edwards, now he's going to get a huge incentive boost because of his rookie extension with $41 million. So that's good for him. Sabonis, who wasn't on the All-Star team, has made the All-NBA third team. A lot of people are questioning like why he's on the list if he wasn't an All-Star. I'm not questioning it whatsoever because, in my personal opinion, I knew for a fact that he got snubbed. Like, I know and everyone knows that he should have been on an All-Star team, but he wasn't. And I mean, I guess this is sort of like, a reward for him because, yay, he gets recognized for being super good. But I mean, it's about time. It's about time for him to be recognized for being super good. And I really don't have any problems with everyone else that's in the third team, aside from Tyrese Halliburton. And I feel like there could have been. I mean, you could have definitely put De'Aaron Fox on this list aside from Halliburton, who was consistent throughout a majority of the season, as opposed to Halliburton, who was consistent for mainly just the first half of the NBA season. But that's really like all that I have to say about this segment. And the list is solid. Again, the only real problem that I have is Jalen Brunson being on the second team as opposed to being on the first team. But other than that, really nothing else that needs to be talked about. So with that, I'm going to end off with the second segment. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Before I end off, here is a fun fact. So with this All NBA first team selection coming in from Luka Doncic. He now has more first team selections than Stephen Curry, Nikola Jokic, Dirk, Chris Paul, Bill Russell, Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, Allen Iverson, and even Dwayne Wade. He has more he has more first team selections than all of those Hall of Famers, which is amazing in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you guys think that Luka is going to be better than all of these players on this list, if he's not better than Steph, or if he's not better than D Wade or AI or any of those other comments that you have towards Luka and the rest of the stars that I just mentioned. But with that, I'm going to end off on the second segment, and we are going to go ahead and go into the third segment where I talk about Cavs drama yet again. So I will be right back after this break, so just give me a second and stay tuned.